We're near here, the River City, for Game 3 of this series between the River City Rascals and the Joliet Slammers.
The 0-2.
The Rascals split their most recent homestand 3-3 before embarking on a 6-game road trip prior to this home series with the Slammers. Joliet is finishing their short 3-game break from Silver Cross Field to tangle with the Rascals right here at T.R. Hughes Ballpark before they head back home tomorrow to square off against the Florence Freedom. The last time the Rascals played in their home ballpark, they were defeated by the Frontier Grays 7-6 to be denied of the series sweep. The game was decided in the top of the 7th inning when Will Shearholtz of the Rascals gave up the tying and winning runs on a walk, a couple of hits, and a fielder's choice to earn himself the loss in that game.
Shallow fly ball, center field going out to Silver, coming in is Radall. Nobody will make the catch. It's a bloop single. Shane Brown scores, and we are tied. 6-6 is the score.
From the 7th inning on, the combined efforts of Nick McBride, the winning pitcher, Brent Shobin, and Nick Anderson in the Grays bullpen shut down the Rascals' offense and secured a confidence-boosting win for a sub-500 team with a long-shot chance at a wild-card spot. One point of interest in that last series is that the Rascals hit just one home run, but they still managed to outscore the Grays 16-13. This is good for River City because it shows that they are more than capable of playing good old-fashioned small ball as a team, as 6 different players had an RBI in the series. The lack of power could pose as a problem, though, as the top teams in the Frontier League are all stacked with heavy hitters. We'll have to wait and see just how that plays out for the Rascals in this final stretch of the season. As far as the two teams playing today are concerned, though, they're headed in completely different directions. The Rascals are looking to have a much better August and make one final push towards the playoffs after muddling through an 11-12-1 July, while the Slammers are doing everything in their power to remain relevant after going just 9-15 in July. The key for the Rascals coming into this game is definitely Brian Hansen. Not only does he lead the Frontier League in batting,
it's a ground ball into right field for a base hit, and Radall scores it.
But he is no slouch on the base pads, earning him a spot as one of the top 10 base stealers in the league. He is one player that no pitcher wants to face at the plate, and that no catcher wants to see in the base pads. The Slammers have a key of their own, though, and his name is Mike Garza. The former Milwaukee Brewer draft pick has played every game for the Slammers this season, and he has notched a very respectable .276 average in his first year in the Frontier League. He is also a very good defender who can play nearly any position in the infield, and he can even step back to the outfield if needed. Watch out for Mike Garza as well as Brian Hansen to have big impact on the outcome of today's game. If you're a fan of smart, fundamental baseball, this is the game for you. The ball will not be carrying out far behind the fence much, with the lack of power between these two teams and the Missouri summer humidity both playing factors. So the winner of this game will be the team that keeps a level head and makes far fewer mental mistakes. Stay tuned for the exciting conclusion of this 3-game series between the River City Rascals and the Joliet Slammers right here at iWatchRadio.com.
We are moments away from first pitch of Game 2 of a doubleheader between the Joliet Slammers and the River City Rascals. Rascals already took Game 1 of this twin bill by the score of 5-2. Tim Coons pitching a complete game. He gives up just 2 runs on 5 hits, 4 walks, which isn't very good, but 8 strikeouts makes up for it. He improves to 8-0. Michael Cardin, the starter, loses. He goes to 2-5 after giving up 5 runs in 2 2/3. Rascals scored 3 runs in the first inning with a 2-run homer by Brian Hansen and an RBI double by Zach Comatani. They also scored twice in the 3rd inning on a double play ground out by Danny Canello with the bases loaded and a 2-out wild pitch allowing Jackson Slade to score from 3rd. Both runs for the Joliet Slammers came on a 2-run shot by Phil Bates. And that was it, a pretty speedy game. And that actually allows us to get underway pretty close to a typical Thursday night, 6:35 first pitch on every night of the week except for Sundays, which is 4:05 at TRU. So the Rascals at about 6:40 Central Time are ready to go. Tim Coons got the win in Game 1. It's Joe Scanio on the mound for the Rascals in Game 2. Scanio with a record of 7-5. He leads the Rascals in innings pitched with 75 1/3. He has an ERA of 3.58, and he is ready to go. He'll be facing the following starting lineup in Game 2 put together by Jeff Isom, manager of the Joliet Slammers. Phil Bates leads off. He's in center field just like in Game 1. Nate Roberts bats second. He's the DH with Alfredo Rodriguez at short and Mike Garza cleaning up at third. Carlos Lopez is the first baseman. Hunter Ridge in left. John Cannon behind the plate. And Casey Fletcher in right field. Max Casper is the 9-hitter and second baseman. After a called strike, Phil Bates sends one foul, so the count is 0-2 quickly. Joe Scanio, 7-5 in 15 games this season. He has 75 and a third innings pitched, 85 hits. That leads the team surrendered, 34 runs, 30 of those earned, 6 walks, 44 strikeouts. He gets Phil Bates to fly out to Jackson Slade in right center, and it's one down for the Rascals starter. Brian Hansen in left, Curran Radall in center, and Jackson Slade in right field for the Rascals defensively. Taylor Ard is at third. At shortstop is Johnny Morales. The second baseman is Hector Crespo. And at first, it's Josh Silver for the first time this season. Behind the plate, it's Zach Komatani. Komatani was at first base in Game 1. He takes a pitch low and away. That's Nate Roberts at the dish. Roberts went 0 for 3 in Game 1. He had a walk in the first inning, but struck out looking twice, one of them to end the game. Takes a called strike, counts 1-1. Same two umpires as Game 1. But Tim Whittingham moves from behind the plate to the field. Tom Brahan calling balls and strikes. Pitched below the knees, 2-1. Maybe Nate Roberts will get along with the new home plate umpire a little better than he did with Whittingham. Scanio peers in. Joe Scanio has moved exclusively to the stretch. He has ditched his windup. He misses low, 3-1. Scanny, of course, spent multiple years in the St. Louis Cardinals organization and all 84 of his affiliated appearances out of the pen. This is his first year as a starter in quite some time. The 3-1 is a ball off the inside corner, I suppose. It's a walk to Nate Roberts. He walks just like he did in Game 1 in the first inning. He's at first. Rascals wearing black tops with white trousers again. White numbers, white letters on their unis with their maroon caps with black brims and black socks. Although Joe Scanio on the bump in Game 2 with his black stirrups with maroon and white rings around the top and maroon sanitaries underneath. First pitch to Rodriguez could be 2. It goes over to Morales. He steps on the bag, throws to first. It's a 6-3 double play, and Joe Scanio faces the minimum. He does walk 1, but the twin killing keeps his batters faced at just 3. Going to the bottom of the first, it's the Joliet Slammers 0, Rascals coming up. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. First inning, scoreless game between the Rascals and the Joliet Slammers. Rascals won Game 1. They got off to a good start in Game 2. First pitch to Curran Radall is a called strike. Adam Giacalone on the mound. Giacalone, the right-hander, big guy listed at 6'2", 220 pounds. Bats left-handed, throws right-handed, and the way he bats does matter as a pitch misses low. Giacalone is 1-1 this year with a 2.43 ERA. This is his 12th game of the year. He has started now 5. He also, this year, has 48 at-bats under his belt. He's 9 for 48, no home runs, 5 RBIs, as Curran Radall lines a ball over to the shortstop Alfredo Rodriguez, who squeezes the leather on it for the first out. Curran Radall leads off. He's the center fielder, followed by Brian Hansen in left and Jackson Slade in right. Taylor Ard cleans up. He's the third baseman. Danny Cannella DHs. Zach Komatani is the catcher with Josh Silver at first. Johnny Morales at short, and Hector Crespo bats ninth. He's the second baseman. Brian Hansen digs in. Hansen went 1 for 2 with a 2-run homer and a walk in the first game. Also struck out once. Fouls a pitch away, strike 1. Righty versus righty. Giacalone winds and delivers. Pitch up high. Giacalone has not faced the Rascals as a pitcher this season, but he has faced them hitting. On June 21st, he started against the Rascals and went 0 for 3. Bouncer over to Alfredo Rodriguez, the shortstop once again. He's busy in this first inning as he throws out Brian Hansen, 6'3", is the scoring. 2 down for Giacalone. From Shawnee, Kansas. He attended Neosho County Community College. Neosho, I assume is how you pronounce it. If I'm incorrect, as always, feel free to tweet at me and correct me. I always like to be told I'm wrong. Al Hernandez, 262. That's my Twitter. Also, you can follow me because, well, I want as many followers as possible. Here's the right fielder and third hitter, Jackson Slade. He takes a ball below the knees. 1-0. Slade caught game 1. He moves out from behind the plate and into right field for game 2. He had a pair of singles and 3 at-bats, also scored twice in game 1. He takes ball 2 low. Slade has been on a tear, hitting over .315 now. The 2-0. Swing and a miss. With Giacalone getting so many at-bats, question is, do they really need a DH? Giacalone last season hit .265 with 10 homers and 56 RBIs. A ball makes it 3-1 on Jackson Slade. Looking to avoid a 1-2-3 inning in the first. The 3-1. Lined into center field. Bates moving back, still going in the right center field gap. He'll reach up and make the catch while backpedaling onto the warning track to end the inning. Jackson Slade hit it hard, but Bates tracked it down. It is indeed a 1-2-3 frame for Adam Giacalone, headed to the second. No score. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Of 5-2 after losing 2 nights ago, 11-4. The Rascals trying to win the series by sweeping the doubleheader. Facing off against the Slammers. Slammers took game 1 of the series. Rascals took game 2 and game 1 of the doubleheader. So this is the rubber match. Joe Scanio back on the mound. Scanio in the first inning did walk Nate Roberts, but got Alfredo Rodriguez to ground into a 6-3 double play. Joe Scanio issuing just his 7th walk of the year in the first. A rarity for the right-hander to issue free passes. Gets a called strike to begin Mike Garza's at bat. Garza cleaning up and playing third, just like in game 1. In the first of this doubleheader, he went 0 for 2 with a walk. Takes another pitch. This time it's outside, 1-1. Scanny kicks and delivers. Bouncer right side, it's Crespo snagging, throwing, out number 1. Here comes Carlos Lopez with 1 down and the base is empty.
First baseman, Carlos Lopez.
Lopez went 1 for 3 in game 1. He had a single in the second inning, a strikeout in the 4th, and a ground out in the 6th. Righty versus righty. Scanio comes set, kicks, delivers. Down low, ball 1. Slammers wearing their same uniforms as game 1. Orange tops, gray trousers, green numbers, green letters, white trim. They've got their green caps with their orange brims. Pitch inside, 2-0. Carlos Lopez, the right-handed hitting first baseman. Dons number 17, socks down low, pants to the shoe tops. He flares one foul, 2-1. Sun begins to set beyond the first base stands at TRU's ballpark. Lights not on yet. Shadows cast across the infield. All of foul territory on the first base side is in shade. Home plate in a few minutes will be covered as the mound, per usual at TRU's, will stay in the sun for a couple extra innings past the home plate, giving the pitcher the advantage. The 2-1 from Scanio just off the outside corner. Count runs to 3-1. Scanio no longer with that full windup, as I mentioned. A lot of relievers stick to pitching exclusively out of the stretch. Scanio has moved that way, just as Dane Stone has over the last couple starts. Here's a bouncer over to Johnny Morales. He throws to first for the second out. A couple of ground outs for Scanio. His sinker working early. already with a ground ball double play, and now a pair of soft bouncers to begin the second.
Fielder, Hunter Ridge.
Here comes Hunter Ridge with 2 down and no one on. Ridge, the left-handed hitting left fielder. He and Lopez both started game 1, but they're flip-flopped in order in game 2. Ridge, then Lopez in the first affair. Lopez, then Ridge in this one. He takes a ball low 1-0. Ridge went 0 for 3 in game 1. He had one of 8 strikeouts that the Slammers offense accrued against Tim Kuntz. Here's a called strike 1-1. We had a quick game for the first one that started at 4:05. And believe it or not, we may be in store for an even faster paced game with Joe Scanio on the mound. First game was just an hour and 58 minutes. 2-1's the count. Righty versus lefty. Scanny nods for the sign from Zach Komatani. He paints a sinker on the outside corner. 2-2 with 2 outs and the base is empty. Looking for his first traditional 1-2-3 inning. He did face the minimum in the first game, or in the first inning rather, but he did issue a walk. He needed a twin killing, started and executed mostly by Johnny Morales at short, doing it a 6-3 DP, and he gets a swing and a missed strike 3, punching out Hunter Ridge. It's the first strikeout of the game for Scanio as Ridge goes fishing on a slider, diving low and in. It is indeed a 1-2-3 frame for the Scan Man, headed to the bottom of the second. Scoreless game. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on Talk STL.com. 9 batters have gone to the dish through the first 3 at-bats. It's been the minimum for Scanio through 2. Through 1, the Rascals were set down in order. Taylor Ard, Danny Canella, Zach Komatani to hit. Starting with Taylor Ard. Ard went 0 for 2 in game 1 with a walk. No one for the Rascals in game 1 hit more than 3 times. They didn't need the bottom of the 7th because they had the lead, obviously. He fouls the first pitch away. Ard does, 0-1. Jack Aloni got a line out, a fly out, and a ground out in the first inning. He winds and delivers. Inside corner strike called on Taylor Ard, 0-2. Slight breeze blowing left to right. Shouldn't be too much of a factor here at TRU's. Wind never really seems to affect gameplay too much. Not like it does at other ballparks. Pitch down low, 1-2. We saw at Rockford the wind was howling out to right the entire series. The wind at Schaumburg affected gameplay quite a bit. The wind howling out to dead center in Normal. That ballpark played like a Little League field. The 1-2. Soft ground ball foul to the right side over to Clint Wright, who's now wearing number 17. He wore number 34 in game 1. I think he might just be rotating through unis down there, acting as the first base coach. A little surprised the number 17 even fits him. Normally worn by Nick Kennedy. Kennedy's not nearly of the same stature of Clint Wright. Wright listed at 6'6", 240. Foul ball again off the bat of Taylor Ard, keeps the count at 1-2. Giacalone shakes once, shakes twice, nods, winds, the 1-2. Breaking ball lifted behind home plate into the stands once again, and a battle brewing between Giacalone and Ard. Taylor never putting in an easy at bat against a pitcher. Rascals top the lineup, very similar to game 1. The first 6 are in the same order. Pitch down low, and the count's even. 2-2 on Taylor Ard, leading off the bottom of the second. Rascals and Slammers deadlocked at Donuts through the first inning and a half. Giacalone's 2-2 offering. Another foul ball by Taylor Ard. 5 foul balls for Taylor Ard in this at-bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Giacaloni's pitch, down low, Art checked his swing, the appeal, he went. Tim Whittingham down the first base line said that Ard went around. Fans not happy with that call. These River City Rascals fans never afraid to hide their emotions, especially when it comes to umpire calls. Gotta love it though, passionate fans. Here comes Danny Cannella. Cannella, the designated hitter and 5-hitter, just like in game 1. He takes a pitch below the knees. Cannella 0 for 3. He hit with the bases loaded and nobody out in the 3rd inning, grounded into a 4-6-3 double play that brought home a runner. He didn't get credit for the RBI, but he did get the run in. Takes another one down low, 2-0. Facing that same exaggerated shift, but the difference here is that Max Casper, the second baseman, instead of standing on the lip of the grass in the dirt, is way back in right field. And the right fielder out there, Casey Fletcher, is shifted towards the gap. Here's a pitch lifted left side, foul territory, long run for Mike Garza. He'll watch that land in the stands. Garza, the only infielder on the left side of the diamond, playing the typical positioning of a shortstop. Sometimes what you'll see with a shift is you'll leave a lot of teams nowadays are leaving their shortstop on the left side of the diamond, moving the third baseman over to where the shortstop is. The 2-1, Sky to the right side, way up in the foul territory. First baseman Lopez tracks it down and makes the catch. What they'll do is leave the shortstop on the left side, move the third baseman over to where you'll typically see a shortstop on a shift. That way the third baseman doesn't have to cover as much ground. You're leaving all that work to the shortstop over there who's used to it. That's not the move of Jeff Isom, though. He'll leave Garza over there, although now a typical defensive alignment against Zach Komatani with 2 down and the bases empty. Comey catching game 2. We've seen him reassume his role as backup catcher on this squad, although the Rascals kind of rotate through 3. He absolutely tattoos one deep to right field. That's going to go off the wall. Komatani is going to cruise into second base. It's a 2-out, 2-bagger for the Rascals catcher. Komatani breaks up the perfect game in the no-hitter, although it only lasted an inning and 2/3 for Adam Giacaloni. Comey, the first man to reach base. That's his second double of the day. Comey had an RBI double in the first inning in game 1, and he also walked, so that's his 3rd time on base. That ball nearly cleared that tall wall out there in right field. Hit near the top of it. Not very often do you get an easy double after hitting the ball off the right field wall. Komatani got it there, though. Josh Silver digs in. Silver starting at first base. He fouls one off the mask of the catcher. That's John Cannon behind home plate. Hunter Ridge in left field, Bates in center, and Casey Fletcher in right field for the Joliet Slammers. Mike Garza at third with Rodriguez at short. At second base, it's Max Casper. And the first baseman's Carlos Lopez. You just heard Cannon behind the plate receiving the pitches from Giacaloni. The right-handed starter forced to go to the stretch for the first time. Facing Josh Silver. Silver hit 9th in game 1. He only batted twice in those 7 innings. He pops a bunt attempt up behind home plate. Long run. Cannon slides. Can't make the play. Silver in an 0-2 hole. Silver went 0 for 2 in game 1 playing right field. He's at first base now. That means that there's only 2 positions on the diamond he has not played in 2015. That's catcher and center field. And yes, that includes pitcher. Josh Silver's pitched twice this season. Once in Gateway, once at Windy City. Coming set, Giacaloni. Kicks and delivers. Just outside to Josh Silver. Silver, the natural shortstop. Relieving Komatani at first, who's catching now. He rips a ball right into the mitt of Garza. That looked like a ball ticketed for the left field corner, and instead it's just allowed out to end the inning. The Rascals get their first hit and base runner of the game, but they cannot score. Headed to the top of the third, Rascals and Slammers scoreless. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Between the Rascals and the Joliet Slammers, Joe Scanio facing John Cannon, who swings and misses strike one. Cannon, the catcher in game two. We have not seen him in this series. It was Jack Cleary in the first two contests of this three-game set. Scanny's 0-1. Flared to right field, shallow going back. It's going to be Crespo making the easy catch on the move. Second baseman ranging back onto the outfield grass for out number one.
Right fielder, Casey Fletcher.
Here comes Casey Fletcher. Fletcher, the right fielder. Fletcher didn't participate in game one. It was Nate Roberts out there in right. Takes a swing and a miss. Fletcher replaces Mason Snyder in the 8-hole in the lineup. Snyder not playing in game two. Fletcher in game one of the series went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and a walk. He lines one into center field, a base hit, and that's the first ball he's put in play in this series. He has a single. That's the first hit of the game for the Joliet Slammers. Here comes Max Casper. Fletcher just the second man to reach base against Joe Scanio through the first 2 innings. Well, 2 1/3 now. Scanio in the first allowed a walk to Nate Roberts before getting a 6-3 double play. Looking for another twin killing against Max Casper, the second baseman. Righty versus righty. First pitch low and in. Scanio not really having to change his delivery much with a man on base as he's been pitching from the stretch all day. The only difference is now he has to make sure he comes to a complete set before coming home. He doesn't have to do that without men on. Throws over to check on Fletcher. Max Casper at the dish. Right-hander, 5'11", 180 pounds from Circle Pines, Minnesota. 25 years old. He bounces one to the right side on the hit and run. Josh Silver, the first baseman, takes it, looks over to second, thinks better of it as he backpedals and steps on first. A nifty play by the newly anointed first baseman. It's a 3 unassisted put out. Back to the top of the lineup, it's Phil Bates. Bates, the first man in the game to hit twice. He flew out to right field in the first inning. Fletcher at second with 2 down. Scanio nods. Comes set, kicks, delivers. Sinker just misses off the outside corner, 0-1. Seems as though Tom Brahan's calling a tighter strike zone than Tim Whittingham did in game one. Whittingham was awfully generous with those outside corners. Brahan, not so much. The 0-1, fouled away. One and one is the count. Pitch down low. Scanio now calls time and will ask Zach Komatani to come out to the mound. Remember, Komatani was almost the personal catcher for Joe Scanio through his first handful of starts. Comey making a start once every 5 days. That's kind of typical with a backup catcher. That, of course, was a start behind the plate. Komatani starting in left, right, and first base quite often. All of the first handful of starts for Scanios caught by Komatani. Then went through a bit of a period where he didn't catch any games. He's caught a couple Scani starts recently, though. Here's a called strike. That evens the count, 2-2. 2 down, top of the third. No score between the Rascals and the Slammers. Game 2 of a doubleheader. That means this will be just a 7-inning contest. Scani comes set, kicks the 2-2. Ground ball over to short. Johnny Morales has to hurry. He rounds it, he throws, and no stretch by Silver. It squirts away, but he's able to keep it close. That'll be an infield single for Phil Bates. A tough one for Johnny Morales. Tough on any day, let alone his first game back in a month. Fletcher goes to third. He stops there. That pulled Josh Silver off the bag, and Silver, not the most experienced first baseman. Probably doesn't know the ins and the outs of the bag like someone like, maybe Zach Komatani would. He did his best to stretch, but Silver, not the biggest guy at first base either. Nate Roberts at the dish, 2 outs, men on the corners, ball 1, low and away. Silver isn't small. He's listed at 6 foot, 200 pounds. But we've discussed many times how first basemen are usually big, hulking figures. Runner in motion. It's a ball low. They might have a chance at third. The throw hits the runner, popping up and coming home to score on a throwing error is Casey Fletcher from third base. With men on the corners and 2 outs, Phil Bates stole second base. Komatani faked the throw down to second, looked over at third, saw how far Casey Fletcher was venturing off the bag, made a snap throw over there. The throw hit Fletcher, grounded away. As this pitch is skied out to deep center field. Radall going back to the track. He reaches up. He makes the over-the-shoulder catch to end the inning. Going to the bottom of the third. The Rascals do surrender 1 unearned run and trail 1-0. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Bottom of the third inning, Rascals trail 1-0 to the Joliet Slammers as an unearned run came across on a throwing error charged to Zach Komatani in the top half of the frame. Johnny Morales, Hector Crespo, and Kern Radall due up. First pitch to Morales, lined into right center field, a base hit. That's a good start to try to respond. Morales with his first base hit of the day, his first base hit since returning from the injured reserve list. He's now 1 for 4 over the doubleheader. In the top of the inning, there were men on the corners with 2 outs. Phil Bates took off for second base. Komatani pump faked, threw down to third to try to catch Fletcher. His throw hit Fletcher and trickled away. He popped up and scored. That's how the 1 run of the game came across. It'll be an unearned run because of the throwing error on Zach Komatani. Hector Crespo at the dish. He hits a high fly ball deep to left field. This one's got a chance. It's off the wall. It'll be extra bases. Steve Brooks sends Johnny Morales all the way around third. There will be no throw. It's an RBI double for Hector Crespo, and we're tied 1-1. Johnny Morales hustling all the way around from first base to score. Here comes Kern Radall. That's Hector Crespo's 14th double of the year. He's second on the team. That's RBI number 26. First pitch popped up left side. Foul territory. It will not be caught by Garza, and it will not be caught by John Cannon. The third baseman and catcher converging on that. It ended up falling in between the two of them. A little bit of miscommunication, and as they were nearing the visitors' dugout down the third base line, they were a little apprehensive. Strike one on Curran Radall. Radall 0 for 1. He lined out to the shortstop, Alfredo Rodriguez, his first time up. In game one, Radall doubled and walked. He also scored a run. He's got Hector Crespo at second base with nobody out. Now lines one foul onto the burn. Leadoff single by Johnny Morales. Hector Crespo doubled off the top of the left field wall. That ball inches from clearing the fence. I think everybody in the ballpark had to pause a moment thinking it may have landed in the bleachers. Instead, it's a two-bagger. It ties the game. But he's at second with nobody out. Curran Radall looking to at least advance him to third with a ground ball to the right side. He's in an 0-2 hole to Adam Giacalone, though. Giacalone's pitch, another foul ball. It's obvious that Giacalone's working the outside corner against Radall, not allowing him to get ahead of anything and pull it. Radall just continues to spoil pitches. Now a pickoff attempt at second base. Radall back safely. Alfredo Rodriguez, the shortstop, keeps trying to sneak in behind him and catch him. That's the first time Giacalone's actually thrown back to second base. He's basically been ignoring Rodriguez, though. The 0-2 with the runner in motion outside. The throw down. Not in time. Hector Crespo swipes third base. Again, Giacalone trying to get Radall to ground out to the left side with an outside pitch. It's up and away for ball one. Counts 1-2. And Hector Crespo swipes third base. So now instead of a ground ball, Curran Radall will look to hit it in the air as the infield defense comes in. Go ahead run just 90 feet away in the form of Hector Crespo. The 1-2 is a ground ball. It's a diving stop by the shortstop Rodriguez. He spins around the throw to first. They got him. What a stretch by the first baseman. Carlos Lopez doing a full split at first base for that dig. Wow, that's a great play by both Alfredo Rodriguez and Carlos Lopez. Rodriguez had to lay out to keep that ball in the infield. He spun around and from his knees through to first, and with Radall moving down the line, Lopez knew he was going to have to stretch to try to beat Radall to the bag, and he went full splits. What a play, what athleticism. Pitch down low, ball one to Brian Hansen. Infield still drawn in as that was just the first out of the inning. Hansen's 0 for 1. He grounded out 6-3 his first time, looking to hit a ball in the air. Hansen drove in 2 in the first game of this doubleheader. He now has 30 RBIs on the year. He lines one in the left center field gap, and this will split the outfielders and score. Hector Crespo going for second, the throw in. Hansen safe. It's an RBI double. He has 3 RBIs today, and that is his 14th double of the year. Rascals lead 2-1 in the bottom of the third. Rascals teammates picking up Zach Komatani on that throwing error. That's exactly what good teams do. You can't play perfect baseball all the time. You're bound to make a mistake, and when you do, you have to be able to rely on your teammates to help you out. That's exactly what the Rascals offense has done here in the bottom of the third. A throwing error by Zach Komatani, but the Raskies come right back with 2 and take the lead. Here comes Jackson Slade. Slade 0 for 1. He hit a rocket to right center, but a nice catch by Casey Fletcher out there ended the first frame. He has Brian Hansen at second with 1 out. Hansen with great speed out there. Giacalone kicks and delivers the first pitch down low, stopped by John Cannon behind home plate. I bet Joe Scanio, along with Komatani, probably the first 2 guys to be high-fiving Hector Crespo and Johnny Morales as they cross home plate. Here's a called strike. 1-1. Joe Scanio probably would say, well, yeah, there was the error on the play, but I gave up 2 hits. 2 guys that shouldn't have been on base. Hansen dancing off a second, the 1-1 lined foul. And, of course, Joe Scanio, all season, in his starts or not, has seemed to be one of the biggest cheerleaders in the dugout, always hopping over that fence and high-fiving guys as soon as any big play is made to end an inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jackson Slade. About as hot as they get with 2 hits in game 1. Takes a ball low and away. That evens the count 2-2. Rascals up 2-1, bottom of the third. All 3 runs in this game scored in the third inning. 1 in the top, 2 in the bottom. Giacalone peers in, gets the sign, and comes set at the belt. Looks back at Hansen, looks again, comes home. Slade hits a bouncer right back to Giacalone, who falls down on the mound. He scoops, throws to first after recovering, and throws out Slade. Hansen has to stay at second base. Doesn't want to risk getting caught in a rundown on a ball hit back to the pitcher. 2 down. Giacalone is doubles as a position player. Didn't look too graceful on the mound there, though. Can't blame the guy, though. I can't say that I would be very graceful on a mound. Plus, Giacalone was falling off towards the first base side. Had to reach back towards the third base side. In fact, it was probably a pretty darn good play on the mound. First pitch to Taylor Ard. It was a called strike, 0-1. Up high. Count is 1-1 on the Rascals. Cleanup in third baseman. He struck out swinging in the second inning. Has Hansen at second with 2 down. Takes a pitch outside. Ard has been held relatively quiet in this doubleheader, 0 for 3 with a walk. That's a quiet day for Taylor Ard. Hansen takes his lead from second base. 2 balls and 1 strike. Righty versus righty. He's going for third. Pitch down low. Throw from Cannon. Not in time. Another steal for the Rascals. It's Hansen swiping third. I don't have the statistic in front of me, but I'd have to assume that Hansen has more steals of third than any other Rascal this season. 3 men just continue to swipe bases at an impressive rate. Radall, Crespo, and Hansen. That's Hansen's 22nd steal of the year. The 3-1. Down low, ball 4. 2 walks for Taylor Ard over the doubleheader. They have men at the corners with 2 down for Danny Cannella. First, Pascal Santiago, the pitching coach, will make his way out to the mound, affectionately known in Joliet as Paskey. Paskey heads out to the mound to give Giacalone some advice on how to get out Rascals. Danny Cannella is 0 for 1. He popped out, so Giacalone figured out the tough left-handed slugger the first time. Danny Cannella nearly turns into a different man with men on base, though, with 50 RBIs on the season. Cannella hitting .303 this season with runners on. Hitting .300 with runners in scoring position. And with runners in scoring position and 2 out, .343. With no one on base, Danny Cannella batting .216. So he's a guy with that clutch gene sewn into the very fiber of his makeup. Facing that exaggerated shift again. 2 down. Righty versus lefty. First pitch absolutely tatered to right field. That one is gone. A 3-run homer for Danny Cannella, and the Rascals lead 5-1. Home run number 12 for Cannella in 2015. He now has 53 RBIs. He was sitting on that fastball following the meeting on the mound, and he got exactly what he was waiting for. A 3-run jack clearing that high wall, and I don't think there was ever a doubt if that one would get out despite that high wall. Rascals have put a 5 spot up in the 3rd inning. They lead 5-1. Some hitters like to swing at the very first pitch after a mound visit because they're thinking, well, this guy's going to come right in here with a good, juicy pitch. That's what Cannella was waiting on, and he absolutely crushed it. Zach Komatani chases a ball in the dirt, strike 1. He now lays off a 1-1. Pitch from Giacalone down low. The 2-1 to Komatani. Sharp ground ball. Takes a high hop, but a nice play by Max Casper at third to corral it anyway. He throws to second and retires Komatani, who's now 1 for 2. But the Rascals are able to score 5 runs and take the lead over the Joliet Slammers. 5-1's the score, headed to the 4th. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Gave up 1 run at the top of the 3rd, an unearned run, but Rascals' potent offense came to the rescue and scored 3. Rather, scored 5. Why am I sounding them short? They scored 5. They're up 4. 5-1's the score in the top of the 4th. Alfredo Rodriguez, Mike Garza, and Carlos Lopez due up. Scandio's first pitch of the frame is a strike on the inside corner to Alfredo Rodriguez. Rodriguez, the shortstop and 3rd hitter in the lineup. 0 for 1 in this game. He went 1 for 3 in the first. His only hit, though, it's a little bouncer on the infield. That could not be handled cleanly by the man on the mound, Tim Kuntz. A ball makes it 1-1. Now here's a bouncer right side. Crespo has it eat him up. He has to just hold on to that. That'll go down as an E4. Wasn't an easy play for Crespo, one of the most sure-handed defenders in the Frontier League. Had it come right at him, and at the last moment hit a rock and kicked up and hit him in the chest. Did a good job of squaring it up and keeping it in front of him. Made it possible for him to still make a play. But Rodriguez, with too much speed, beat it out. That goes down as an E4. That's the 2nd error of the game for the Rascals. First pitch is a high fly ball into left field, pushing back. Brian Hansen, he makes the catch, though, for the first out. Mike Garza is 0 for 2. The entire infield is in the shade now. The warning track around the outfield in the sun, as is the left and center field fences, but that's just about it. Sun is almost completely dipped behind the the first base stands. Here comes Carlos Lopez. Lopez is 0 for 1 with a ground out. First pitch just below the knees, ball 1. 1-0. Rascals hoping for a ground ball to turn 2 on. Lopez did ground out his first time, a check on Alfredo Rodriguez. Rascals up by 4. Pitch inside. 2-0 is the count. Check over once again. Scanio comes set at the belt. His 2-0. Called strike on the outside corner. Scanio comes set. 2 balls, 1 strike, righty versus righty. Here's a high chopper up the middle. This could be 2. It's taken by Morales. He steps on second. His throw to first. He got him after being upended on a great takeout slide by Alfredo Rodriguez, but an even better play by Johnny Morales sticking in there and turning to another 6-3 DP. And Scanio faces the minimum in the 4th. Going to the bottom of the frame, Rascals up 5-1. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on Talk, STL.com. The 4th inning, Rascals up. Score 5-1 over the Joliet Slammers. Josh Silver, Johnny Morales, and Hector Crespo due up the bottom third of the lineup. Starting with Silver, he's 0 for 1. He's hit by a pitch, and he'll take first base. Giacalone drills him with the first pitch of the inning. A free ride for Josh Silver. It's the 5th time he's been hit this year. He and Ludia have both been hit 5 times. They trail only Taylor Ard, who's been hit a whopping 12 times this season. Leadoff man is on. Silver getting on however it takes. Here's Johnny Morales. Morales 1 for 1 with a single into right center. That jump-started the Rascals offense in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He bunts and lays it down foul to the right side. Morales single to right center, and then a double by Hector Crespo, a double by Brian Hansen, and a walk by Taylor Ard before a 3-run homer by Danny Cannella. The Rascals' eventful 3rd inning. Giacalone straight to the stretch. 0-1 on Crespo. His pitch with Silver in motion that's driven into deep right center field. Fletcher goes back. He'll make the catch. Silver must return to first. 1 away. Here comes Hector Crespo. Crespo already with an RBI double to his credit. Also scored a run and just missed a home run to left center. If he had gone deep, it would have been his 4th of the year. Instead, he's still sitting at 3 home runs. Righty versus righty. Still Silver at first. A check on him. He returns safely. Josh Silver, a guy with pretty good speed over there, although he hasn't really used it much on the base paths. At least not in the scoring or in the stealing department. Just 1 for 3 this season. First pitch to Crespo, down low. Hector held hitless. He grounded out 4-3, 5-3, and then 6-3 in game 1. Already with 1 hit in game 2. Rifles 1 foul. 1-1. Taking a look around the Frontier League scoreboard. Normal Corn Belters currently lead 6-1 over the Florence Freedom. That's in the 7th inning. That's the bad news. And now I have some okay news. Rockford Aviators and Lake Erie Crushers tied at 5 in the 5th. Keep you updated in both those games. Looks like Corn Belters have a pretty solid handle on their game, up 5. But tie game in Lake Erie, that's very interesting as the first place Aviators are now just 4 games up on the Rascals. A ball makes it 2-1 on Crespo. He now comes up empty on a huge hack, 2-2. Of course, the Rascals pick up half a game already by winning game 1. Southern Illinois Miners up 2-0 over the Schaumburg Boomers. Gateway Grizzlies and Windy City Thunderbolts scoreless in the second. Beach Bums over the Wild Things 5-3 in the sixth. Called strike 3. Hector Crespo doesn't like it again. He's having a conversation with Tom Brahan, telling him how it was off the corner. Now Brahan doesn't like it. He's going to take his mask off and get into the face of Crespo. Current Radall team captain trying to get in between the two men. Now Steve Brooks going to come down. Brahan is escalating this as much as Crespo is. Brahan's not going to back down from the fight. Neither is Crespo. Curran Radall doing his best impersonation of a coach, getting in between the two of them before Steve Brook eventually makes his way down from the third base coach's box and escorts Crespo back to the dugout. Hector doesn't like the called strike 3. There's 2 down. Here comes Curran Radall. Radall, one of those guys on the team. He's obviously the oldest guy on the team at 27, and he's the one veteran. But he's not just one of those quiet guys that goes about his business. Yes, he is soft-spoken, but he's one of the biggest leaders on the team on and off the field. He flares one into shallow right field. Casey Fletcher makes a sliding catch to end the inning. Going down to his knees to make the snag. Rascals do get a leadoff base runner, a hit by pitch of Josh Silver. But then they go down in order against Jackalone. Headed to the top of the 5th. Rascals up 5-1. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Got the victory, tossing a complete game, striking out 8. He improved to 8-0. He and Scanny both entered the day with 7 wins, tied for the team lead. Coons takes the lead for now, but Scanny looking to match him. Double header sweep would be big for the Rascals, who entered play today, a game and a half out of second place, 4.5 out of first. If they're able to complete a sweep of the doubleheader and Rockford loses, they'd pick up a game and a half, being just 3 back. Scanio kicks and delivers. First pitch, a huge swing and a miss by Hunter Ridge. Ridge is 0 for 1. He struck out swinging in the second inning. Scanio kicks his 0-1. Down low. As expected, the crowd is filled in here at TRU's in Game 2. Pitch outside. We're celebrating Mardi Gras here at TRU's. I think it's halfway to Mardi Gras. I do believe that's what the official celebration is. There are beads and feathers everywhere. 2-1 just outside. I've never been to Mardi Gras personally, but I'd have to assume that this is pretty darn close to the actual event. 3-1. Scanio versus the left-handed hitting Ridge. He sends one foul to load the count. 3-2. Rascals have been very good in doubleheaders this year. They're 9-5 in doubleheader contests, well now 10-5. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Joe Scanio blows a pitch right by Hunter Ridge. Scanny's second strikeout of the game, both of them swinging, and both of them against Hunter Ridge. Here comes a John Cannon. Cannon, the catcher, he popped out to Hector Crespo his first time up. Cannon, right-handed bat, 6 foot, 180 pounds. He's 25 years old, from Austin, Texas. He skies one out to shallow center field. Johnny Morales, the shortstop, will make the catch. 2 down. So a couple of little flares off the bat of Cannon taken by Rascals infielders on the lip of the outfield grass. First it was Crespo behind first base. Then it was Morales behind second. 2 away, no one on. Casey Fletcher to hit. Fletcher may look to take a couple pitches since Scanio was able to use so few pitches to get the first 2 outs. And he does indeed take a strike right down the middle, 0-1. Fletcher with a single today. In fact, he recorded the first hit of the game for the Joliet Slammers. That came with 1 down in the 3rd. Takes a pitch low. Fletcher came around to score. That was the first run of the game. The only run of the game for the Joliet Slammers. 5-1, the Rascals lead. Just outside. 5 runs on 5 hits and 2 errors committed by the Rascals so far. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors for the Joliet Slammers. Joe Scanio trying to complete a 1-2-3 frame. He already has one of those under his belt. Here's a sharp bouncer over to Morales. The shortstop throws and gets him. It is indeed a perfect inning for Joe Scanio. Going to the bottom of the 5th, up 5-1. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Hansen digs in to start the bottom of the 5th. He's swinging away and lines 1 foul. The announcement just went over the PA, and we'll send him a congratulations over the broadcast, although he's playing, not listening. Curran Radall officially becomes the all-time games played leader for the River City Rascals. Ball low. Curran Radall now playing in actually game number 309. 308 was game 1. That was the record he has surpassed. Eric Williams. Williams set the record last year playing in his 307th game. That's the Rascals record. He held it for, less than a year. Comes around, Curran Radall in his 4th season with the Rascals has officially surpassed him. Congratulations, Curran, one of the all-time great River City Rascals. Foul ball by Brian Hansen. He's in a 1-2 hole, and he takes 1 low, 2-2. Hansen, 1 for 2 with an RBI double in the 3rd inning. He stole 3rd base and scored. Radall sets the record in his most impressive season of his career. Pitch outside, so the count runs full on the leadoff hitter. Radall setting all kinds of career highs for a single season. The payoff pitch, down low, ball 4. Brian Hansen's on for the 2nd time this game. He's on base for the 4th time today. Here comes Jackson Slade. Hansen's at first, chatting it up with Clint Wright, acting first base coach. Jackson Slade comes up. Slade 0 for 1, a fly out to right and a ground out, 1-3. Hansen with his lead from first, not going anywhere on the first pitch, and it's a strike. See a righty throwing in the bullpen for the Slammers. No action for the Rascals in this game yet. The Rascals didn't have to use the pen in game 1. Just 2 innings remaining in game 2, and Joe Scanio's been cruising. Ready versus righty. Slade versus Giacalone. Hansen takes his lead from first. Already with a steal today. Pitch down low. It squirts away, and Hansen, ever so aggressive, scoots into second. That goes a wild pitch. Maybe the most difficult wild pitch that Giacalone has ever surrendered. Probably the most difficult wild pitch for John Cannon. He was ready for it. He kept it right in front of him. It didn't get very far away, but Hansen with an aggressive primary lead, an even more aggressive secondary lead, and he could just easily scoot into second base with his great speed. One and one. Slade now with an RBI opportunity. He lines 1 foul. Jackson with 2 hits in the doubleheader. Doesn't have an RBI yet, though. 24 RBIs for Slade this season. He has a 1-2 count. At the very least, hoping to move Hansen to third. Takes a pitch just off the outside corner. Slade, staying patient, lays off. The 2-2. Another foul ball. Slade keeps battling at the dish. It looks like over in the third base, or rather in the third inning, up on the scoreboard in right field. There's been an infinity sign set up there for a moment, but it's back to 5. Of course, it's a hand-operated scoreboard at T.R. Hughes, that big wall in right. The red line score in the third inning. They put a sideways 8 up there for that infinity sign, but that's been corrected. Rascals with 5 runs, not infinite runs. Another foul ball by Jackson Slade. A great at-bat for Slade. The only way it could be better is if it resulted in a base hit. Hoping to at least move Hansen over. Now the throw goes into center field. Adam Giacalone attempted a pickoff throw to second. It was coordinated with the shortstop Alfredo Rodriguez, who snuck in behind Hansen. Hansen didn't have all that large of a lead. He was back to the bag by the time Giacalone released that throw. Giacalone's throw sailed wide of second into right center. Hansen didn't even realize it at first, and then he was able to scoot into third. He's there with nobody out. Count still 2-2 as the infield defense comes in. And it's a base hit for Jackson Slade into center field. Hansen scores. Rascals lead 6-1 in the bottom of the 5th. What a marvelous at-bat for Jackson Slade. He battled and battled and battled, following off pitch after pitch after pitch, just to single into center field and bring home Brian Hansen. Hansen really doing it himself. A walk, moving up to second on the wild pitch, moving to third on the error, and then helped out, getting some help from a teammate finally, scoring on Slade's single. That'll be it for Adam Giacalone. Out comes the skipper, Jeff Isom. He makes a move to the pen. We'll send it to a commercial. When we come back, we'll let you know who it is relieving the starter. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. In comes the right-hander, Luke Crumley. Crumley, 6'5", 200 pounds. He is 23 years old, from Cleveland, Georgia. Not Cleveland, Ohio. I bet you thought that's where I was going. He attended the University of Georgia. The former Bulldog will be facing Taylor Ard. Nobody out in the inning. Jackson Slade at first. Bottom of the 5th. Rascals already up 6-1. First pitch. Swing and a miss. Luke Crumley, in his first season out of UGA. No record. This is just his 5th game of the year. He has a 4.76 ERA. Misses low. In 5 2/3 innings, he's given up 4 hits, 3 runs, all earned, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. He's also hit a batter. He has not hit a pitcher, as far as I know. The 1-1. Outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. He hasn't really thrown a strike yet. He did get Ard to swing and miss at the first pitch, but it was out of the zone. We'll see if he's able to find his command. Of course, it is always a possibility that he just doesn't want to throw strikes at Taylor Ard. I would understand that strategy. The 2-1. Outside, snap throw down to first base. John Cannon trying to catch Jackson Slade off the bag. He cannot. 3-1. Down 6-1 in the 5th inning, though. You'd assume that Crumley's instructions were to come in and throw strikes. The lanky righty comes set. This 3-1 is launched into deep left field. This ball goes back. It is caught by the left fielder, Hunter Ridge, as he bangs into the wall. A nice catch by the left fielder. Taylor Ard gave it a ride, but not far enough. That's the first out of the inning. Ard looking back over his shoulder into left field. He knows he didn't get all of that one, but Ard, some of the biggest, maybe the biggest upper body I've ever seen. Broad shoulders, big strong chest. Was able to use his strength to muscle that one all the way out there. Here comes Danny Cannella. Cannella will face the infield shift again, but last time it didn't matter. He hit a 3-run homer. That brought home himself, Ard, and Hansen. That came back in the third inning, busting the game open 5-1. He takes the ball low and away. Second baseman Casper will play at the lip of the dirt and the grass. That way it will be easy for him to turn two if a ball's hit to him. Called strike 1-1. Of course, with no one on, you can play deep in right field and not worry about trying to make a play at second. Slade at first base, a respectable lead. The 1-1. It's a base hit into right center field. He hits it right through the shift. Slade goes to second and stops there. Replaced at first base by Danny Cannella. Here comes Zach Komatani. Comey, 1 for 2 with a double and a ground out. Slade at second, Cannella at first. Komatani swinging as hot of a stick as anyone in the Rascals lineup. He takes a breaking ball up and in, ball 1. Lights are on and coming into full effect here at TRU's. So the sun is dipped down. Here's a pitch foul. Rascals looking to win 2 out of 3 from the Slammers after Joliet won the opener on Tuesday. Yesterday's game rained out, made up today. Rascals won game 1 of this doubleheader. Final score 5-2. Right now they lead 6-1 in the second. The 1-1 pitch, Komatani below the knees. He's ahead 2-1. Crumley has fallen behind all 3 men he's faced since entering. He did have 3 walks in his 5 2/3 innings entering play. That is a small sample size, though. He fools Zach Komatani, who tries to hold up his swing but cannot, on a fastball up and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 2 men on for the Rascals. Already 1 run across in the bottom of the 5th. They lead 6-1. They scored 5 runs in the 3rd after 1 run came across in the top of the inning for the Slammers. The 2-2. Swing and a missed strike 3. He's able to get a fastball past Komatani. That's the second out of the inning. Here comes Josh Silver. Silver 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. Some bad news. The Corn Belters have extended their lead from 5-1 to now 9-1 over the Florence Freedom in the 8th inning. That game looks to be all but over. Rockford Aviators and Crushers still tied at 5. That game now in the 7th. That's the good news. Here's a called strike to Josh Silver. Thunderbolts up 1-0 over the Grizzlies in the 4th. 5-4, Traverse City over Washington in the 8th. Evansville Otters lead the Frontier Grays 3-1 in the 5th inning. And the Miners over the Boomers 2-0 in the 5th. Here's a ground ball down the left field line, fair for extra bases. Slade scores. Cannella cruises into 3rd. It's a 2-out, 2-bag RBI for Josh Silver. He brings in Jackson Slade. Rascals lead 7-1. That's Josh Silver's 10th RBI of the season. I've been waiting a while to say that. That means every single active Rascal this season has reached double digits in the RBI category. Here comes Johnny Morales. Morales 1 for 2, a single, a flyout, and a run scored. He has 2 men in scoring position with 2 down, and he fouls the first pitch he sees into the stands. Rascals continue to build on their lead. Only 2 at-bats remaining for the Joliet Slammers. Keep in mind, it's just a 7-inning game for this doubleheader. The 0-1. Strike on the outside corner. All 7 runs charged to Adam Giacalone. Slade was left on first when he came out of the game, so you can officially close the book on him. Bouncer right side. It's taken by Lopez. First baseman steps on first and ends the inning. But the Rascals score 2 more runs on 3 hits and a walk. They lead 7-1 going to the 6th. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com.
Hi, this is Curran Radall from Moses Lake, Washington. You can catch all 96 games this season right here on TalkSTL.com.
Get through the first 5 frames. If that's not economical, I don't know what is. First pitch is inside to Max Casper, ball 1. Casper 0 for 1 with a ground out. Joe Scanio has allowed just 1 unearned run on 2 hits, 1 walk. Called strike right down the middle. One of those 2 hits, by the way, an infield single. A couple of errors, one of them allowing the run to come across, but another erased on the double play. His walk issued also, taken care of on a twin killing. He gets a called strike, 1 and 2 on Casper. Casper listed at 180 pounds. He's a pretty slim fella. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Chasing a ball in the dirt, Komatani stands, steps, throws, and completes the out. That's a strikeout with a 2-3 put out. Strikeout number 3 for Joe Scanio. Here comes Phil Bates. Bates is 1 for 2 with an infield single. Both hits this game for the Slammers coming in the 3rd inning. Bates had an infield knock, stole second, went to third on a throwing error. Was stranded there. He takes a ball. Bates stealing second base was the catalyst on down low, 2-0. Bates was the catalyst stealing second to that run coming in on the throwing error because Komatani double clutched, went to third, and throw got away. Bates really making it happen. 2-0. This ball lined into right center field. Jackson Slade barely has to move, takes 2 steps back and makes the catch. 2 down, and Scanio keeps his efficiency up. In fact, Joe Scanio has gone to a full count just 1 time tonight. Saw quite a few full counts in game 1 going both ways. Scanio's been able to mow down this lineup pretty effectively. 2 down, no one on. 7 straight set down by Scanio now. Pitch outside. That ball actually going all the way to the backstop, and Scanio laughs. Nate Roberts with that 1 walk-off of Scanio. He might want to ask to have that baseball. It's a pretty big deal to earn a base on balls against Joe Scanio. Here's another ball, 2-0. Scanny has now walked just 7 batters. He's pitched over 80 innings this season. In comparison, he has hit 12. Here's a pitch down low, 3-0. Something comical in the fact that Scanio has hit 12 batters and walked just 7. Scanio's real two weaknesses this season have been home runs and hit by pitches. He's surrendered 7 long balls. Here's a called strike. He has done neither today, though. He has not hit a hit batter, nor has he allowed a home run. Called strike makes it 3-1 on Nate Roberts, righty versus lefty. Roberts has also flown out to center field. 3-1's a called strike, and just as I say that he has not had, he's only had 1 full count. Here is the second one. Isn't it great the way that baseball works? Scanio looking for a second consecutive 1-2-3 frame. This pitch fouled away. Scanio has had 2 perfect frames. 4 times, though, as he faced the minimum. Only in 1 inning as he faced more than 3, and that was the 3rd. Of course, that was the inning in which the Slammers scored their lone run of the game. Scanio's payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He punches out Nate Roberts. Strikeout number 4 for Joe Scanio. Headed to the bottom of the 6th. Rascals looking to add to their lead. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Game. Rascals lead 7-1 over the Joliet Slammers in the bottom of the 6th. And the Slammers use their 3rd pitcher of the day, rather 3rd pitcher of the game. It's David Kubiak, an even taller pitcher than Luke Crumley. His first pitch down low, ball 1. Kubiak, a right-hander, lists at 6'7", 245 pounds. He just celebrated a birthday 3 days ago. He just turned 26. Happy belated birthday, David Kubiak. Another ball makes it 2-0. He's from Southold, New York. Swing and a miss. He attended the University of Albany. Drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays in the 36th round in 2011. Another swing and a miss from Hector Crespo. He's got an even count, 2-2. Kubiak pitched in the Rays system in 2011. He's been in the Frontier League ever since. Pitched for Evansville, Southern Illinois, and now Joliet. Here's a bouncer foul, keeps the count 2-2. This season, while with the Slammers, he's 5-3 with a 2.79 ERA in 25 games. He's pitched 61 and a third innings. Here's a nasty breaking ball for a called strike 3. No chance for Hector Crespo. Wow. I think that explains the 2.79 ERA. Also explains the 59 strikeouts. That's number 60 in now 61 and 2/3 innings. He's given up 51 hits, 23 runs, 19 earned runs. Does have 23 walks. He's in his first full season with Joliet. He split the year last year between Southern and the Slammers. Here's a pitch up and away, ball 1. With Joliet last year, he had a heck of a year. He had a heck of a year with Southern as well. Combined, he had a 1.5 ERA and a 7-2 record. Curran Radall pulls the ball on the ground. It's the first baseman Lopez scooping at stepping on the bag. Curran Radall's 0 for 4 in this game. Very rare that he does not get on base. In game 1, he had a double and a walk. 0 for 4 in game 2, though. Here comes Brian Hansen, 2 down, bases empty. Curran Radall currently riding a 10-game hit streak. It looks like it may come to an end. A called strike and now a ball low to Brian Hansen. Hansen is 1 for 2 in this game. He has an RBI double, a walk, a stolen base, and 2 runs scored. The 1-1. Skied foul. 10 straight games with a base knock for Curran Radall. He's scored a run in 4 straight. Looks like both of those streaks will come to an end. Brian Hansen in a 1-2 hole. He lines one down the right field line. That'll land in the seats. Hansen manufacturing a run in the 5th inning. He drew a leadoff walk, had a great dirt ball read, going to second on a wild pitch. On a throwing error, he moved up to 3rd, and then he scored on the single by Jackson Slade. It's not the first time we've seen Hansen do something like that. He's become very good at sort of getting himself on base and moving himself around the diamond. He and Radall make up one of, if not the best 1-2 punch in the league. Here's a line drive into left field. Another hit for Brian Hansen. A 2-out single to left over an outstretched Mike Garza, who tried to make a leaping catch but came up empty. Brian Hansen, of course, leading the league in batting. Entering game 2 of this doubleheader, hitting .386. He has 2 more hits and a walk, though, so that average will go up. He's scored the first 2 times he's reached base, trying to make it 3. Jackson Slade 1 for 3 with an RBI single in the 5th to bring home Hansen. He also scored a run himself. He takes a called strike, 0-1. Kubiak to the stretch for the first time. He kicks and delivers. Slade takes a big cut and comes up empty. He's in an 0-2 hole. No one throwing in the bullpen for the Rascals, so it looks as if it will be Joe Scanio trying to complete the game. Rascals already with 1 complete game today. Pitch down low, 1-2. Could it be that the Rascals toss 14 innings and do not use their bullpen in this doubleheader? That would be absolutely remarkable. Kubiak stares in. His 1-2. A bouncer foul. Pitch just misses inside to Jackson Slade. That evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Brian Hansen at first base. Rascals up 7-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Inning number 6 of a 7-inning game. Another base hit. Slade putting that one in nearly the identical place that Hansen deposited his baseball. Back-to-back line drives to left. Back-to-back singles with 2 outs. Here comes Taylor Art. Art is 0 for 2, but he does have a walk and a run scored. Art is hitless today, 0 for 4 combined over the 2 games with 2 walks. Righty versus righty. Art swinging the first pitch, pops it up right side of the infield. First baseman Lopez tracks into foul territory and makes the catch to end the inning. The Rascals get a pair of singles but do not score. They lead 7-1 going to the 7th. Joe Scanio leads the charge out into the field to try to complete this game and victory for the Rascals. You're listening to River City Rascals Baseball on TalkSTL.com. Game 1 of the doubleheader, Tim Coons allowed 2 runs, struck out 8, and earned the complete game win. Joe Scanio trying to one-up him. He's given up just 1 run, an unearned run on 2 hits. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Scanio 3 outs away from his first Frontier League complete game. It would be of the 7-inning variety, but heck, who's counting? Alfredo Rodriguez, Mike Garza, and Carlos Lopez do up the 3-4-5 hitters. First pitch, a called strike. 0-1. Rodriguez 0 for 2. He's grounded into a double play, and he reached on an error, but he himself knocked off the base paths by a twin killing. He takes another called strike with a curveball on the inside corner. 0-2. Scanio's pitch down low. That was just the 71st pitch of the game for Scanio. Scanio comes set. The 1-2 inside, nearly plunks Rodriguez, who steps out of the way. Joe Scanio averaging about 11 or 12 pitches an inning. Great efficiency. Nothing new for Scanny, though. One of the quickest workers in the league. The 2-2. Down low. The count runs full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Only the third time this game in which Joe Scanio has gone to a full count. The first 2 times have resulted in strikeouts. The payoff pitch. Line down the right field line. That's going to land foul, though. Scanio has allowed just 2 hits, both of them singles, one of them at the infield variety, both of them coming in the 3rd inning. Three and 2 still. The pitch, chopped foul this time to the third base side. Rascals up 7-1. They are out hitting the Joliet Slammers 10-2. Check swing. They're going to say he didn't go. That pitch just below the knees. Walk number 2 issued by Joe Scanio. Not very often Scanio walks multiple men in an outing. Joe told me, though, throughout the season, walking guys was his biggest no-no. He said, well, maybe maybe as we get later in the year and the guys know what I have, I'll start throwing out of the zone a little bit more. Here's a ground ball over to Taylor. All right, it goes 5-4-3, double play. A great twin killing turn by the River City Rascals defense, and that erases the walk. That's the 3rd double play induced by Joe Scanio in the game. In his debut with the Rascals way back on May 17th, he got 4 ground ball double plays off the bat of normal. Won't be able to match that unless this game goes to extras. I think he'll settle for 3, though. 2 down, nobody on. Here comes Carlos Lopez. The first pitch. Just below the knees, ball 1. Scanio kicks his 1 up. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Lopez with a couple of groundouts, one of them a double play, one of those 3 that Scanio has got. Rascals won game 1, 5-2. They lead game 2, 7-1. Looking for their 2nd complete game of the day. Here's a high chopper over to Taylor Ard. Nice scoop. The throw dug out by Josh Silver. Rascals win 7-1. They sweep the doubleheader. Rascals improve on the season to a record of 37-32, and they pick up at least half a game on the Corn Belters and the Rockford Aviators. We'll see how those 2 games end up to give you the official standings, but the Rascals win. Win goes to Joe Scanio, a complete game. He gives up 1 run on 2 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. His 1 run he surrendered unearned. He goes 7 innings, gets his first career complete game. The loss goes to the starter, Adam Giacalone. We'll go to commercial and come back to recap this entire game. You're listening to River City Rascals.